take my full 30 minutes just because we'll give you a little longer break. How about that? And I'm going to start with young adults and just address some of the things that are going on with young adults. No doubt you've heard of Growing Young by now. And we went online here in 2020. The neat thing about going online with Growing Young is that it gave us the ability to reach more people. We have 4 churches here in Alaska that have signed up for that and are participating in that. Interestingly enough, that we have over 250 churches, Adventist churches worldwide, that are part of this journey. Now, I know some people out there, maybe even some of you teachers and pastors on here, are somewhat skeptical about the Growing Young experience or the book and that kind of stuff. Here's the thing that I just want to say to you, and you can go on and see the Growing Young Adventist website and everything, but here's the reality. You as a local pastor, you as a local teacher, your local leaders, if it's not Adventist, if it's not preaching the third angel's message and contextualized to your local church, village, community, then that's really your fault, because the basic 6 principles that are in the book are biblical, and they challenge you to find the answers for your context of ministry. We do this every year, and thank you to Pastor Kevin and the conference executive committee for giving us the opportunity to take a couple days and to refocus spiritually in that annual planning session. It's vital, and in a sense, for Growing Young, it is kind of like that, because it gives your church a chance to slow down, to refocus, and to look at some of the major priorities as it journeys through those 6 major principles. So I am also coaching. It's kind of a fun piece to be coaching 4 additional churches across North America to help them in their journey as they're learning to be more of what Jesus called them to be. Children's ministries, for those of you that are working with kids' Sabbath schools and everything like that, the North Pacific Union is doing an event March 5 and 6, just coming up here fairly soon. And the North Pacific Union would love to have you participate. We will get that out. If you haven't already seen it in the MailChimp, sorry. I always call it something wrong. Anyway, if you haven't seen it yet, it will be coming out. And so look for that. It's going to be neat event for our young people and Sabbath school leaders of those younger kids. Pathfinders, hey, for those of you that have been going to Oshkosh for 20 years, if you haven't heard yet, that's done for now anyway. We did 5 events there, and we officially, they're saying roughly 55,000, but for those of us that were there this last year, we know that there was well over 60,000 people there. But in 2024, we've already been dialoguing back and forth with our Pathfinder leaders here in Alaska, and we are planning on attending the International Pathfinder Camporee, but it will be held in Gillette, Wyoming. So, yeah, no joke. It is going west. And so we're kind of excited about that. And we're planning for it now, because this is the thing. You can't wait till 2024 to start planning for a big event like that. We had over 100 Alaska Pathfinders and leaders go to Oshkosh in Wisconsin. So in 2024, our leadership, Pathfinder leaders, we're hoping to double that. We'll see and pray. So I know I've had a recent conversation with some of you about your starting a Pathfinder club or enhancing your Pathfinder club. We've got materials here in the office to do that. We also have great area coordinators in all of the areas to support you in that as well. So if you have any questions and you're not sure exactly who to turn to, please call the conference and let us know. But Pathfinders is on the move in 2024. Radio ministry. Radio, as you know, we have a lot of radio stations across Alaska. And I just want to tell you, pastors and teachers, this is a very powerful ministry where we can get into the homes and into the cars, the vehicles of people that maybe we wouldn't otherwise. But from a legal standpoint, the one thing I do have to say is we are struggling with some of your radio stations, our radio stations, whatever here, to be legal. And the reality is, if our radio stations are broadcasting and they're not legal for whatever reason, because they're not following protocols from the FCC, that can come back and have daily fines. So if you or your radio broadcasting ministry leader has already heard from me, please help me make those things happen. If you haven't heard from me, you will soon. If you're not sure if you're Radio is legal and up to date. You feel free to contact me. You can email me or call me. Prefer call my cell phone, not the conference office. I do check that, but not as regularly as my cell phone. So, all right. But we're excited as far as radio goes. We have a couple radio stations being transitioned and hopefully a new one being added here in the next 12 to 24 months. Alaska camps. I just want you guys to hold on. It's the challenging times that we're living in and the things that we're facing. I want to just point out that this summer, we're going to try to do the best we can to do something. It might not be what we're normally used to, the 80 years prior to 2020, but we know that God will give us an opportunity to minister to our young people. And I would challenge you, especially because you know what you're facing with your kids in your congregation, to take 2 seconds at church or Sabbath school and pull a kid aside and just say, hey, how's it going? Don't be afraid to pick up the phone in the middle of the week and call one of them up and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. Send them a text or a chat or an Instagram or something and let them know that you're thinking about them and praying for them. It's amazing how little, and teachers, you know this inherently because of the impact that you guys have on kids on a daily basis. It is thankless, I know, but the reality is you can see the trajectory of change on those kids as you touch their lives daily. And I think pastors, we need not be afraid to do that as well. And finally, I just want to talk about Arctic Mission. So since the lockdowns and the travel restrictions, some of you may or may not be aware of, most of our villages are pretty much shut down to anybody outside. And when they say essential workers, you have to have even a letter from the governor. When we flew a humanitarian effort out into certain villages in 2020, we had to have permission from the governor and from the local village. So it's not just like it used to be where we can fly in. And so when you think about doing ministry in a context like that, where quarantines are mandated and the different restrictions, travel restrictions, ministry becomes exponentially lonely and challenging. We've been doing a weekly prayer time, and we've moved to doing it twice a month now because it just, with things starting to pick up in different villages and that kind of stuff, we're just trying to be sensitive to people's time, but encourage and pray for them. But in partnership in 2020, this is in the notes that I sent to executive committee, so you guys will see this as well, that we, with ACS, we flew supply runs, humanitarian efforts with medical supplies and food and those kind of things into many different villages. Currently, sorry, I'm slow at reading here as I'm trying to scroll here to see what's important. Currently, we are prepping for a digital camp meeting. I'm kind of excited about this, actually. Joanne and Brenda have spent a lot of extra time putting together the kids portion of our VBS in a box for our Arctic Mission camp meetings, but those are going to be mailed out next week. It's fully contained, and I'm excited about this because instead of just reaching the 4 or 5 villages that we typically do during camp meetings, we're able to reach 8. So this is kind of a neat and exciting opportunity to challenge and encourage our workers in the bush. And just in case you are from Arctic Mission territory and you're on here, whether you're listening on the phone or you are able to get internet enough to Zoom in, we are inviting you to tomorrow. Pastor Steve, let me get this right. It's tomorrow's new in ministry event. So I sent that out as an email, and he sent one out as well. So I want to make sure that all of you get the direct invitation now to participate with that. And finally, I want to say this. I always like to kind of look at how our schools and churches can participate and get involved, whether it's in Arctic Mission specifically. We have the Adoptive Village program, and I'm sure Tanya will be talking about that from development department here in just a minute. But we have, you can pray, of course, you can send cards and care packages. Whether you know somebody in a village or you just feel impressed by God to do that, there is a great impact that you can have through your prayers. We have seen that uplift and miracles happen over the years. And then, of course, as one church did, and actually I saw it in the Gleaner. I picked up my Gleaner for the first time this morning since it's been sitting on the desk there. And Eagle River Church, the story of what happened there goes all the way back to 2018. And they went out, a bunch of the kids from the church went out and they collected food, and they sent it out to a village, and it got there literally right before the earthquake. If you guys remember, we had that big earthquake, November 30 of 2018. Well, that food ended up becoming a miracle to impact the village, not just after that and the supply lines were knocked down, but then also when the government shut down a few days later in January. Well, then the story that's in the Gleaner right now is the food that same church, same lay people. Carrie Gallatin has written a story in there. The story sent some food, and I think it got there maybe 2 to 3 days before the native store burned, and the Adventists were able to be the hands and the feet of Jesus, touching the lives of the people in the village. And here's the thing: we have people in Anchorage that are set up to be able to support and encourage. We have people in Fairbanks that are doing the same thing, and everywhere in between. I just want to encourage you, whether you're a school group or you're a church group, maybe we can't do mission trips the way we would like to or the way we're used to, but we still can have a powerful impact. So if you have any questions, feel free to call us here at the conference office, and we'll get you going. Have a great afternoon. I'm going to pass it off to the next person, and I think they'll tell you we're going to have a break here in a second.